Arrival on Quarthos Prime. The hatch of the starship Excalibur hissed open, releasing a gust of pressurized air as Commander Marcus Dane set foot on alien soil. Before him stretched the luminous landscape of Quarthos Prime, a world that seemed to pulse with a life of its own. Beneath a vast sky of swirling red and teal clouds, towering crystal formations rose from the ground like giant spears, their jagged surfaces glowing softly in the twilight. Marcus took a deep breath, taking in the strange blend of earthy musk and metallic tang that filled the air. His senses sharpened, he descended the ramp, each step making a distinct, echoing clank as he approached the delegation awaiting him. His heart pounded as he scanned the alien figures assembled before him. They were tall, their slender frames wrapped in robes of shimmering fabric that shifted colors with each movement. Their skin was a cool, iridescent silver, and their faces bore expressions of curiosity and caution. One figure stepped forward, her posture regal and her expression solemn. Her eyes, a vibrant shade of lavender, studied Marcus intently, as if measuring his very essence. "Welcome, Commander Dane of Earth," she said, her voice musical but edged with a hint of steel. "I am Elira, High Elder of the Quarthian Council. We have anticipated your arrival." Marcus inclined his head respectfully, choosing his words carefully. "Thank you, High Elder Elira. It is an honor to stand before you as Earth's envoy. We come in peace, hoping to strengthen the bonds of cooperation between our worlds." Elira's gaze was unyielding, as though searching for any trace of deception. "Cooperation is a delicate word, Commander," she said slowly. "In recent cycles, we have been wary of outsiders, as their intentions have often brought harm rather than harmony. Our people value peace above all else, but trust is not easily given." Marcus nodded, understanding the weight of her words. He was aware that humanity's ventures into interstellar territory had not always been well received by alien civilizations. This mission was his chance to prove that Earth had come with an open heart and honorable intentions. But there was an unspoken tension in the air, a sense that he would need to earn his welcome through more than just words. "I understand, High Elder. I hope to prove our sincerity through my actions during my stay." Elira inclined her head slightly, a sign of cautious acceptance. "Very well, Commander. We have certain traditions, tests of character that have been honored by our people for centuries. It is customary for an outsider to undergo these rites as a demonstration of their goodwill." Marcus raised an eyebrow, curiosity piqued. "I'm willing to honor your customs, High Elder. Please tell me what these rites entail." At this, the members of the council exchanged glances, their expressions unreadable. Elira's lips pressed together in a slight frown before she spoke. "The rites of trust are not easily explained in words, Commander. They are a journey, both physical and spiritual, that require complete openness and sincerity. Only those with pure intentions can pass through each phase of the rite." Marcus felt the weight of her words sink in, but he was undeterred. "I am here to show my commitment to peace, High Elder. Whatever these rites entail, I will undertake them willingly." A murmur passed through the gathered council members. Elira regarded him thoughtfully, her expression softening slightly. "Very well, Commander. Our ways are different from your own, but I sense a willingness in you to learn. My daughter, Lyra, will serve as your guide through this journey." At Elira's signal, a young Quarthian stepped forward. Lyra's presence was warm yet commanding. Her silver skin seemed to catch the fading sunlight, casting a soft glow around her as she met Marcus's gaze with a confidence that surprised him. "It is an honor to guide you, Commander Dane," she said with a slight bow, her tone both formal and friendly. "If you will follow me, we will begin your journey to the Temple of Luma." Marcus inclined his head, feeling a mixture of anticipation and trepidation. He sensed that this journey would be unlike anything he had ever experienced, a challenge that would test not only his resolve, but the very core of his beliefs. With Lyra by his side, he left the council's gathering, stepping into the unknown with a sense of purpose. As they walked along a path carved from shimmering crystal, Marcus couldn't help but marvel at the alien landscape. Strange, bioluminescent plants lined the pathway, their tendrils shifting colors in the dimming light. He noticed that Lyra occasionally glanced at him, her expression contemplative, as if trying to gauge his reaction to their world. "Your world is extraordinary, Lyra," he said, breaking the silence. "I've never seen anything like it." Lyra smiled, a genuine warmth in her expression. "Quarphos Prime has its mysteries, but I find Earth equally fascinating from the tales we have heard. Your world is vibrant and filled with contrasts, oceans and deserts, mountains and forests. Do you miss it?" Marcus paused, momentarily taken aback by her question. "Yes," he admitted, a touch of nostalgia in his voice. "It's home, but exploring other worlds, connecting with civilizations like yours, it's something I've always dreamed of. It's why I became a diplomat." Lyra studied him with a thoughtful expression. "That passion may serve you well here. The rites are not easy. They are meant to uncover the truth within you, to test the purity of your heart." Marcus met her gaze, feeling a quiet intensity in her words. "I am ready to face whatever challenges lie ahead, Lyra. I want to show that humans can be trusted, that we value peace just as much as your people do." Lyra nodded approvingly. "Then we shall begin." They arrived at the Temple of Lumir as night fell, casting the crystalline structure in a soft, ethereal glow. The temple's architecture was unlike anything Marcus had ever seen, smooth, sweeping arcs that seemed to merge with the ground and sky, as if it were a natural extension of the land itself. It was a place, the path of illumination. The Temple of Lumir loomed before them, its crystalline walls shimmering under the pale light of Quarphos Prime's twin moons. Marcus felt a shiver of awe as he took in the structure, a masterpiece of alien engineering that seemed to resonate with the very essence of the planet. He sensed the hum of energy within its walls, a rhythm that pulsed in harmony with the land itself. As they approached the temple's grand entrance, Lyra turned to face him, her expression solemn. "The path of illumination awaits you, Commander Dane. This is the first phase of the rites of trust. Few outsiders have ever embarked upon it, and even fewer have completed it." Marcus squared his shoulders, determination flaring in his eyes. "I'm ready." Lyra studied him for a moment, as if assessing his resolve. "The path will test your inner strength, your fears, and your deepest desires. It's a journey through your own mind, guided by the lights of Lumir. You must trust the path and let go of any resistance." She gestured toward a wide doorway carved into the temple wall. Through the opening, Marcus could see a long corridor lined with softly glowing crystals that cast a gentle, otherworldly light. The corridor seemed to stretch on endlessly, disappearing into a distant, unknown darkness. Lyra stepped forward, leading him inside. As they moved through the passage, the temperature dropped, and the soft hum of energy grew louder, almost like a heartbeat. Each step seemed to amplify the sound, resonating through Marcus's bones. The atmosphere was thick with anticipation, as though the temple itself was alive, observing, waiting for him to reveal his true self. After a few minutes of walking in silence, they reached a chamber bathed in golden light. In the center of the room stood a pedestal, upon which rested a small, intricate device resembling a glowing crystal orb. Lyra approached the pedestal and gestured for Marcus to follow. "This is the Aurelith," she explained. "It will guide you on your path through the temple. Once you touch it, the Aurelith will reveal the illusions and truths that lie within you. The images may confuse, frighten, or tempt you, but remember, they are merely reflections of your own soul." Marcus took a steadying breath and placed his hand on the Aurelith. The orb was warm to the touch, and the moment his fingers made contact, he felt a surge of energy rush through him, filling him with a strange mixture of calm and tension. The room around him dimmed, and he found himself standing alone in a void of darkness. Suddenly, a flicker of light appeared, floating in front of him. It morphed into a faint image of Earth, his home, with its oceans, mountains, and endless skies. He felt a pang of longing, a reminder of everything he had left behind. But as quickly as the image had formed, it vanished, replaced by another vision. This time, he saw himself standing at the edge of a cliff, a vast, dark chasm stretching out before him. "You must step forward," a soft voice echoed around him. It was Lyra's voice, though he couldn't see her. Instinctively, Marcus hesitated, his heart racing at the sight of the yawning abyss. "Step forward, into that," he called out, feeling a mix of disbelief and fear. "Yes," Lyra's voice responded, calm and unwavering. "This is the path of trust. Trust in yourself and in the purpose that brought you here." Marcus closed his eyes, gathering his courage. He reminded himself of his mission, the reason he had traveled so far from Earth. With a final breath, he took a step forward, plunging into the unknown. As he fell, the darkness around him began to swirl with colors, deep blues, radiant purples, and vibrant greens. He was no longer in the void, but in a surreal landscape, floating weightlessly as visions danced around him. He saw fragments of his past, faces of friends, family, moments of triumph and failure, all merging and shifting in a mesmerizing kaleidoscope. One vision held his attention, a memory of his childhood, standing on a beach at sunset. His father's voice echoed in his mind, reminding him of the courage it took to explore the unknown. "The universe is vast, Marcus," his father had once told him. "But no matter where you go, remember who you are and why you set out on this journey." The scene faded, and Marcus felt himself drifting back into the darkness. The aurolith's warmth continued to flow through him, guiding him back to the present. Gradually, his senses returned, and he found himself back in the temple chamber. His hand was still on the aurolith, but now he felt a renewed sense of clarity, as though a veil had been lifted from his mind. Lyra observed him with a gentle smile. "You have completed the first step of the path," she said softly. "The aurolith has shown you the strength that lies within. Remember this feeling, for the challenges ahead will test it." Marcus released his hold on the aurolith, his heart pounding with a mixture of relief and exhilaration. "That was unlike anything I've ever experienced," he admitted, feeling a new respect for the traditions of Quarthos Prime. Lyra nodded. "The path of illumination is only the beginning. There are 2 more trials you must face to complete the rites." He took a steadying breath, his determination renewed. "I'm ready. What's the next step?" Lyra gestured to a narrow corridor leading deeper into the temple. "The next phase is the trial of reflection. In this trial, you will face not illusions, but truths that may be difficult to confront. Each truth is a test of your willingness to embrace vulnerability, to reveal who you truly are." Marcus followed her gaze down the corridor, sensing that this next trial would be even more challenging than the first. He felt a surge of apprehension but pushed it aside. Whatever lay ahead, he would face it with courage. They walked in silence, the corridor growing colder and darker with each step. The walls were lined with shimmering stones that emitted a faint, eerie glow, casting flickering shadows that danced along the passageway. Finally, they reached a door marked with intricate symbols that seemed to shift and change as he looked at them. Lyra placed a hand on his shoulder, her expression serious. "Beyond this door, you encounter reflections of your own heart, your fears, your desires, and the parts of yourself you may wish to hide. The only way to complete this trial is to face each reflection without turning away." Marcus swallowed, steeling himself. "I'm ready." Lyra gave him a small nod. "Remember, Commander, you are not alone. I am here to guide you." With a deep breath, Marcus stepped through the doorway into the chamber of reflection. The room was empty, save for a single enormous mirror that dominated the far wall. He approached it cautiously, feeling an unsettling sensation as he saw his own reflection staring back at him. But this was no ordinary mirror. As he gazed into it, his reflection shifted, morphing into a younger version of himself, filled with the uncertainty and doubts he'd harbored in his early years. His own voice echoed back to him from the past, questioning his choices, his purpose, his very identity. The reflection spoke, each word cutting deep. Do you truly believe in this mission? Or is this just another adventure, a way to escape the life you left behind? Marcus clenched his fists, wrestling with the doubts resurfacing from within. He took a deep breath, meeting his younger self's gaze with unflinching resolve. Yes, I believe in this mission. I left my home and everyone I care about because I believe in the possibility of unity and peace among worlds. The mirror's surface rippled, and his reflection transformed again, this time showing the image of a familiar figure, his father, watching him with a gentle but questioning expression. The reflection spoke in a voice that was calm yet piercing. You have my courage, Marcus, but do you have the wisdom to know when to listen and when to lead? Marcus felt a surge of emotion, but he stood firm, answering his father's reflection with a voice steady and unwavering. I am ready to learn. I am ready to be both courageous and wise. The image faded, leaving Marcus standing alone, yet feeling more whole than he had in years. He had faced the reflection of his past, his doubts and his fears, and in doing so, he had found a new strength within himself. As he turned back toward the doorway, he found Lyra waiting for him, her expression soft with understanding. Congratulations, Marcus, she said, her voice filled with quiet pride. You have passed the trial of reflection. The final test awaits, but know this, you have already proven more than many before you. Marcus nodded, a sense of accomplishment settling within him. He was ready for whatever awaited him in the final phase, determined to see the rites of trust through to the end. The heart of unity. After completing the trial of reflection, Marcus followed Lyra deeper into the temple's labyrinthine corridors, each step bringing him closer to the final trial. He could feel the weight of the journey behind him. The tests of courage, resilience, and honesty had stripped away any pretense, leaving only his most genuine self. Yet, he sensed that the final challenge would require even more from him. The walls around them shifted, glowing softly as they walked, as if the temple itself was alive and guiding their way. Lyra remained silent, her expression calm but intense, and Marcus wondered what lay ahead in this final test. He had come to Quarthos Prime to negotiate peace, but the rites of trust had become something far more profound, a journey of self-discovery. They stopped in front of a massive door carved with intricate patterns, unlike anything he had seen in the temple thus far. Strange, beautiful symbols flowed across its surface, and the material seemed to shimmer like liquid silver. Lyra turned to him, her gaze steady and resolute. This is the entrance to the heart of unity, she said. It is the final stage of the rites. Here, you must experience our people's most sacred bond, a connection that transcends language, culture, and even species. It is known as the bond of essence. Marcus looked at her, his brow furrowed. The bond of essence. What does that entail? Lyra's voice softened, a hint of vulnerability in her tone. It is a joining of minds, Commander. A merging of souls, if you will. The bond of essence allows you to feel as we feel, to see as we see. It is the deepest form of trust we can offer, and it requires both participants to open themselves completely. Marcus's heart pounded as he absorbed her words. The idea of such a profound connection, of merging his consciousness with another, was both thrilling and daunting. But he understood the significance. This was a test of ultimate trust, a chance to experience unity with an alien mind, to truly understand the soul of another being. Lyra placed a hand on his arm, grounding him. I will be the one to share this bond with you. If you agree, I will guide you through the process. But know that once the bond is formed, it cannot be undone. You will carry a part of me with you, just as I will carry a part of you. Marcus nodded, feeling a strange sense of peace settle over him. I understand, Lyra. I am willing to experience this bond, to truly connect with your people in the way you have asked. She gave a small nod, her expression softening. Then let us begin. With a gentle motion, she placed her hands on either side of his face, her touch cool and soothing. She closed her eyes, and Marcus did the same, steadying his breath and clearing his mind. He felt her presence, a calm yet powerful energy, beginning to weave into his consciousness, as if their minds were threads in a single tapestry. Slowly, sensations and thoughts that were not his own began to surface. He felt an overwhelming warmth, a sense of unity, and a profound love for her people and their way of life. Through her, he could sense the pulse of Quarthos Prime, the ancient rhythms of a culture woven deeply into the very fabric of the planet. He saw flashes of memories. Lyra as a child, exploring the bioluminescent forests, her laughter echoing as she ran through the trees. He felt her pride as she joined the council, her dedication to her people, and her hopes for peace with Earth. But with her joys came her fears, the mistrust many Quarthians held toward humanity, the pain of witnessing outsiders exploit other planets, the weight of her responsibilities as a leader. Her soul was a well of emotions, and he drank it all in, letting her essence flow through him like a river. In return, she experienced his memories, his dreams, and his fears. She saw him as a young man, staring up at the stars with wonder, determined to reach them one day. She felt his resolve during grueling diplomatic missions, his belief in peace, his longing to prove that humanity was capable of compassion and respect. She felt the loneliness he had often kept hidden, the sacrifices he had made, and the quiet strength that kept him moving forward. As their minds intertwined, Marcus felt a level of understanding he had never known. This bond went beyond words, beyond cultural barriers. It was a pure, unfiltered experience of another being's soul. He felt as if Lyra's essence was imprinted onto his very spirit, and he knew she would carry a part of him within her forever. The intensity of the connection left him breathless, and he could sense that Lyra, too, was overwhelmed. When they finally released each other, opening their eyes, they both stood in silence, their breaths coming in steady but labored rhythms. Lyra's gaze held an emotion he could not fully name, a mixture of awe, understanding, and perhaps even affection. "You have completed the bond of essence, Marcus," she said softly, her voice barely above a whisper. "You are now one of us, in a way that few outsiders ever have been. Your heart is no longer foreign to us." He nodded, unable to find the right words. His mind still reeled from the depth of the bond, but he felt a profound connection not only to Lyra, but to the entire Quarthian people. It was as if he could feel the pulse of their world in his own chest, an unbreakable link forged through mutual understanding. A chime sounded, signaling the end of the rites. The massive door behind them swung open, revealing the council members standing in a semicircle, their expressions a mix of surprise and approval. High Elder Alera stepped forward, her gaze lingering on Marcus, as if seeing him for the first time. "Commander Marcus Dane," she intoned, her voice filled with a quiet reverence. "You have undertaken the rites of trust and completed each phase with honor and courage. Through the bond of essence, you have become part of our world. Your dedication to peace has touched us all, and we now welcome you as a trusted ally." Marcus bowed his head, humbled by her words. "Thank you, High Elder. I am honored to have shared this journey with you all." The council members nodded, their expressions softening. Alera raised her hand, signaling the conclusion of the rites. "The rites are complete, and our people's trust in you is earned. Let us now speak of the peace we all seek." As they began the formal discussions of diplomacy and alliance, Marcus felt a renewed sense of purpose. The journey through the rites had been transformative, and he now felt a kinship with the Quarthians that went beyond politics. He had not only come to understand them, he had come to care deeply about their world, their people, and their future. After the council's discussion concluded, Laura approached him with a gentle smile. "You have done more than earn our trust, Marcus. You have shown us the depth of your heart and the strength of your spirit." He returned her smile, feeling a connection that went beyond the words they had shared. "Thank you, Lyra. I'll carry a piece of Quarthos Prime with me always, just as I know you will carry a part of me." The two shared a quiet moment, standing side by side as they gazed out over the alien landscape. The twin moons cast a gentle light over the crystalline fields, and Marcus felt an unshakable bond with this world, a sense of peace that filled him to his core. In that moment, he realized that the journey he had undertaken was more than just a diplomatic mission. It was a journey of unity, trust, and understanding, an experience that had bridged the gap between two worlds. And as he looked to the future, he knew that the bond forged here would pave the way for a lasting peace between Earth and Quarthos Prime. With a final glance at Lyra, he turned to join the others, ready to carry forward the lessons he had learned and the connection he had forged in the heart of an alien world. Shadows of doubt. As dawn broke over Quarthos Prime, casting soft rays of light through the temple's crystal structures, Marcus prepared for his final day on the alien world. The rites of trust were behind him, and the bond of essence with Lyra had deepened his understanding of the Quarthian people in a way that words could never express. Yet, as he gazed at the alien horizon, a shadow of doubt crept into his mind. He knew that the rites had won him the trust of the council, but what of the rest of the Quarthian people? Peace between two worlds was a monumental goal, and he wondered if his actions would truly be enough to ensure it. Just then, Lyra entered, her expression calm yet thoughtful. She seemed to sense his unease and offered a reassuring smile. "You have done more than anyone could have expected, Marcus. The council respects you deeply now, and your connection to our world is undeniable." Marcus nodded, still pensive. "I know, Lyra. But forging peace isn't just about earning the trust of a few leaders. It's about the hearts of all your people, and mine too. There are so many on both sides who may never understand this bond." Lyra stepped closer, placing a gentle hand on his shoulder. "Then perhaps it's time to show them." Marcus looked at her, brow furrowed. "What do you mean?" She led him through the temple's winding corridors, out into the open air, where a vast crowd of Quarthians had gathered at the foot of the temple. News of the successful completion of the rites had spread quickly, and word had reached even the distant settlements. The people were curious, some skeptical, some hopeful, but all of them drawn by the news of an earth envoy who had endured their most sacred customs. Lyra stepped forward, addressing the crowd with a voice that carried authority and warmth. "People of Quarthos Prime, we stand here today with a guest who has undertaken the rites of trust, who has proven himself in the eyes of the council. Through the bond of essence, he has come to know us not as strangers, but as kin." The crowd murmured, a mixture of wonder and suspicion. Some eyes watched Marcus with curiosity, others with distrust. He felt the weight of their expectations, the skepticism of those who still doubted humanity's intentions. One voice called out from the crowd, strong and defiant. It was Tarek, a respected elder from a neighboring village, known for his resistance to any form of alliance with outsiders. "How can we trust an alien who comes here speaking of peace, when we have seen the destruction others have brought to distant worlds? Words and customs do not change the nature of a people." Marcus took a step forward, feeling the intense gaze of the Quarthians upon him. "You're right to be cautious," he replied, his voice steady. "I don't expect trust to come easily, and I understand the pain and betrayal that can come from broken promises. But I didn't come here to impose my ways or to take from your world. I came here to learn, to connect, and to honor the spirit of unity that your people hold dear." The elder folded his arms, his expression unwavering. "Words can be twisted, intentions hidden. How do we know you are sincere, that your people truly seek peace?" Lyra stepped forward, her eyes fierce. "Tarek, the rites themselves are our guarantee. Marcus has undergone our most sacred bond, the bond of essence. Through it, he has shared in our soul, felt our history, our fears, and our dreams. He has shown us that humanity, too, can hold the values we cherish. I have seen his heart, just as he has seen mine." Tarek's gaze softened slightly, though skepticism lingered. "Perhaps you trust him, Lyra, but it will take more than rites to ease the doubts of a lifetime." Marcus felt a surge of determination. He knew that this was the moment to demonstrate not only his commitment, but the essence of humanity's spirit. He took a deep breath, his voice filled with conviction. "I understand your concerns, and I don't blame you for them. But trust cannot be forced, it has to be earned, and I am willing to work for it." As he spoke, he noticed a figure at the edge of the crowd, Helios, the warrior who had once challenged him upon his arrival. Helios' gaze was sharp, his posture tense, but there was a flicker of something else in his eyes, something that wasn't quite hostility. Seizing the moment, Marcus turned to Helios, meeting his gaze directly. "Helios, you were the first to doubt me when I arrived, and I respect your concerns. But if there's a way I can prove my dedication to you and your people, tell me, and I will face it." The crowd fell silent, anticipation heavy in the air. Helios stepped forward, his expression unreadable. "There is one test you have not faced, one that only the most trusted among us undergo. It is the rite of the Elder Tide, a journey into the caverns of Vix, where one must confront the shadows of the soul. Only those who survive the journey return, and not all who attempt it are victorious." Lyra gasped softly, her face reflecting both respect and fear for the challenge Helios had proposed. "The rite of the Elder Tide is one of our most dangerous traditions, Marcus. Few of our own people attempt it, and it is a true test of spirit and resilience." Marcus's heart pounded, but he felt a strange calm settle over him. He knew that he couldn't back down now. "If this is what I must do to show my commitment, then I accept the rite of the Elder Tide." Helios' eyes narrowed, as if assessing Marcus's resolve. "So be it. We shall prepare for the journey." The crowd murmured, a mix of awe and apprehension spreading through the gathering. As Marcus prepared to leave with Helios and Lyra, he could feel the weight of their expectations on his shoulders, but he embraced it, knowing that his journey here was not yet complete. Later that evening, as the twin moons rose high in the sky, Marcus stood at the mouth of the caverns of Vix. The entrance was dark, an unyielding void that seemed to swallow light itself. The air around him was cold, heavy with the scent of minerals and the faint whisper of the unknown. Helios approached him, a torch in hand. "The caverns are a labyrinth, filled with paths that twist and turn. You'll encounter visions and shadows, reflections of your own fears and doubts. They are illusions, but they will feel real. The only way to survive is to remain steadfast, to keep your mind focused on your purpose." Lyra gave him a small nod, her eyes filled with concern. "Remember what we shared in the bond of essence, Marcus. Let it guide you when the darkness seems overwhelming. You are not alone, even when it may feel that way." With one last look at his allies, Marcus took a deep breath and stepped into the darkness. The caverns were silent except for the occasional drip of water echoing through the empty spaces. Shadows danced across the walls, distorted by the flickering light of his torch. He moved forward cautiously, his mind racing as he remembered Helios's words, "Reflections of your own fears and doubts." Suddenly, he heard footsteps behind him. Whipping around, he found himself face to face with himself, but this version of him was wary, disheveled, and filled with bitterness. "What are you even doing here?" His reflection sneered. "Do you really think you can bridge the gap between two worlds that don't want peace? Humanity is known for conquest, not cooperation. You're wasting your time." Marcus swallowed, the reflection's words hitting closer to home than he wanted to admit. But he remembered Lyra's advice, grounding himself in the connection they shared. "I'm here because I believe we can change. I believe humanity can be more than what we've been, that we can learn from others and grow." The reflection scoffed, dissolving into mist as Marcus's resolve held strong. As he ventured deeper, more visions emerged, people from his past, choices he regretted, fears of failure. Each one tried to erode his spirit, to plant seeds of doubt. Yet with each encounter he pushed through, reminded of the bond he shared with Lyra and the strength of the Quathian people who believed in him. Finally, after what felt like hours of wandering through the caverns, he reached a chamber bathed in an ethereal blue light. At its center was a pool, its surface reflecting the star-filled sky above. It was a place of peace, a sanctuary amid the darkness. Marcus knelt by the pool, feeling a surge of calm as he gazed into its depths. He saw not his fears, but his dreams, visions of Earth and Quarthos Prime working together, of friendships blossoming across worlds, of a future built on unity and understanding. He knew then that this was his purpose, the path he was meant to walk. When he emerged from the caverns of Vix, the dawn was breaking, casting a warm glow over the gathered crowd. Helios watched him with a grudging respect, while Lyra's expression was filled with pride. "The rite of the Elder Tide is complete," Helios announced to the crowd. "Commander Marcus Dane has proven himself not only in our eyes, but in the eyes of our ancestors. He is one of us." The crowd erupted in applause, their doubts melting away in the light of his resilience. As Marcus looked out over the faces of the Quarthian people, he knew that peace was no longer a distant dream, but a reality within their reach. And in that moment, he felt that he had truly found his place among the stars, seeds of peace. The triumph of completing the rite of the Elder Tide filled Marcus with a sense of purpose and pride, but he knew that the journey for lasting peace was only just beginning. As he stood among the Quarthians, the exhilaration of his victory faded into a steady determination. He was no longer just a diplomat. He was a bridge between worlds, and his actions would set the foundation for the alliance between Earth and Quarthos Prime. In the days following the rite, Marcus met daily with the Quarthian Council, discussing not only the terms of peace, but the vision of unity they both shared. The discussions were thoughtful and measured, as they carefully navigated the challenges of cultural differences, expectations, and the deep-rooted distrust that had lingered between their people. One morning, as Marcus walked through the crystalline gardens outside the council chambers, he found Lyra waiting for him beneath the shade of a tall, bioluminescent tree. The tree's gentle glow cast a soft light over her, creating an almost ethereal presence as she looked up at the twin suns rising on the horizon. She turned to him, her expression warm but serious. "Marcus, there is something important we must discuss. The Council and I have been considering an idea that could be crucial for building trust, but it will require a significant commitment from both sides." Marcus tilted his head, intrigued. "What kind of commitment?" Lyra took a deep breath, her eyes thoughtful. "We propose establishing a cultural exchange program. Our people would send representatives to live on Earth, and in return, we would welcome humans to live here on Quarthos Prime. It would be a way to bridge the gap, to learn from one another and build trust at the most personal level." Marcus considered this, recognizing the potential of such an exchange. "It's a powerful idea, Lyra. I think it could change everything, seeing each other's worlds, sharing in each other's daily lives. But it won't be easy. There will be risks, misunderstandings, and resistance on both sides." Lyra nodded, her gaze steady. "I know, but if peace is truly what we seek, we must be willing to make sacrifices. This isn't about just signing a treaty. It's about forging a connection that transcends the barriers of space and species. This exchange could lay the foundation for something lasting." Her words resonated deeply with Marcus, igniting a renewed sense of hope within him. He thought of the countless people back on Earth who still saw aliens as threats, as beings to be feared or distrusted. Experiencing life on Quarthos Prime could open their eyes, just as his own journey here had transformed his understanding. "I'll propose it to my leaders," he promised. "I believe they'll see the value in it, especially with the support of your council. If we can inspire enough people to participate, we might be able to overcome the fear and suspicion that have kept us apart." Lyra smiled, her face softening with gratitude. "Thank you, Marcus. I had hoped you would understand." As they spoke, Helios approached, his usual stern expression tempered by a newfound respect. The warrior who had once doubted Marcus now regarded him with something close to kinship. "Commander Dane," Helios greeted, his voice steady but respectful. "The Council has approved the idea of the cultural exchange, but there is another matter we must discuss. Our people need a symbol, something to mark this new alliance. We believe a shared project would be the ideal way to represent our unity." Marcus looked between Lyra and Helios, his curiosity piqued. "A shared project. What do you have in mind?" Helios gestured to the landscape before them, his gaze unwavering. We propose the construction of a unity monument, a structure built by both our people, representing the bond we seek to create. It would stand as a testament to our efforts, a symbol for generations to come. The idea stirred something within Marcus. He envisioned a towering monument, crafted from both Earth and Quarthian materials, standing tall beneath the alien sky. Its presence would serve as a reminder of the journey they had embarked upon and the struggles they had overcome together. "It's perfect," Marcus said, feeling a surge of excitement. "It will be a symbol of hope, a reminder that we are more than just our differences. This monument could inspire others to believe in the possibility of peace." Laura's eyes sparkled with enthusiasm. "Then let's make it a reality. Together, we will design and build something that reflects our shared dreams." The decision was set, and over the following days, plans for the Unity Monument began to take shape. The Quarthians provided the crystal materials unique to their world, while Marcus sent for a team of engineers from Earth to contribute their expertise and resources. It was a project that required the collaboration of minds and hearts from both worlds, and each day, the foundation grew stronger. As construction commenced, the Unity Monument became a beacon of hope, drawing Quarthians from far and wide. Many came simply to observe, their faces filled with curiosity and wonder as they watched humans and Quarthians work side by side. Families brought their children, elders shared stories of old alliances, and a spirit of unity blossomed. One afternoon, as Marcus helped the engineers with a new support structure, a young Quarthian boy approached him, his wide eyes filled with fascination. The boy watched him intently, and after a moment, he spoke in a soft, hesitant voice. "Commander Dane, is it true that you traveled all the way from the stars just to make peace with us?" Marcus knelt to meet the boy's gaze, offering a gentle smile. "Yes, it's true. I came because I believe that our worlds are stronger together, that we can learn and grow by understanding one another." The boy's face lit up with wonder. "Will I be able to visit Earth one day?" Marcus chuckled, feeling a swell of warmth. "I hope so. And when you do, I'll make sure you're welcomed with open arms, just as your people have welcomed me." The boy beamed, his curiosity evident. "I'll bring stories from Quarthos to share with the people of Earth." As the boy ran back to his family, Marcus felt a deep sense of fulfillment. The exchange program, the monument, and the connections he was building were more than just symbols. They were seeds of understanding, growing roots in the hearts of both species. The days turned into weeks, and the Unity Monument began to take form. Standing at the site each morning, Marcus would watch as the structure grew, crystalline spires rising from the ground, their facets catching the sunlight and casting rainbow-like reflections over the surrounding land. Engineers and Quarthian artisans collaborated on intricate designs, combining their cultures in patterns and symbols that told the story of their alliance. One evening, as Marcus walked through the nearly complete monument, he found Lyra standing alone, gazing at the structure with a look of awe and pride. The monument's central crystal pillar stood illuminated, casting a gentle glow that filled the night with an otherworldly light. "It's beautiful, isn't it?" she murmured, sensing his presence. Marcus nodded, feeling a deep connection to the project they had brought to life. "It's a testament to everything we've been through, to the journey of trust we've shared. I believe this monument will stand for generations as a symbol of what's possible when two worlds come together." Laura turned to him, her gaze warm but pensive. "Do you think the people of Earth will embrace this alliance? Will they understand what it means?" Marcus thought for a moment, reflecting on the challenges that lay ahead. Not everyone will understand at first. There will be fear, skepticism, maybe even resistance. But as more people come to know your world, as they see the Unity Monument and hear our story, they'll begin to understand. We're building more than just a structure. We're building a foundation for the future. Laura nodded, her expression softening. "Then let us be the first of many who choose to believe in this dream." As they stood in silence, the Unity Monument casting its glow over them, Marcus felt the weight of their achievement settle within him. He thought of the countless lives that would one day be touched by their efforts, the Quarthian children who would learn about Earth from their human teachers, the Earth scientists who would study Quarthos Prime's ecosystems, the friendships and alliances that would grow over time. In that moment, he understood that the journey to peace was not a single act, but a lifelong commitment, a series of small steps that would carry them forward, one generation at a time. The following day, the Unity Monument was unveiled in a grand ceremony, attended by both Quarthian and human dignitaries, council members, and citizens. The crowd gathered beneath the monument's towering spires, their faces illuminated by the brilliant light that radiated from the crystal structures. Marcus and Lyra stood side by side as High Elder Elira addressed the assembly, her voice filled with pride and hope. "Today, we celebrate a new era of unity between our worlds," she proclaimed. "The Unity Monument stands as a testament to our shared dreams, our struggles, and our triumphs. May it inspire generations to come, reminding us that we are stronger together than we could ever be apart." The crowd erupted in applause, their voices blending into a chorus of celebration and joy. As Marcus looked out over the gathering, he felt an overwhelming sense of fulfillment. The journey he had undertaken, the trials he had faced, and the bonds he had formed were all woven into the fabric of this moment, a moment that would shape the future of both Earth and Quarthos Prime. And as he gazed at the Unity Monument, glowing brightly under the twin suns, he knew that this was only the beginning. The seeds of peace had been planted, and with time, patience, and understanding, they would flourish into a legacy that would span the stars.